Game day, Saints and Falcons. So, we're about 3.5 hours away from kickoff. Got up, doing my little daily morning routine. I'm gonna go home, take care of some things, and get ready for the game. But I think I just kind of wanted to come on and share my personal keys to the game. I mentioned before, I've said it like 100 times, I am picking Atlanta to win the game. My expectations are not that high for the Saints today, considering all of the circumstances. What's up, Goose? How you doing? Speaking of another person, another Saints fan picking Atlanta, it's Goose Sports here in the building. I'm also picking the Falcons to win. It's just going to be very difficult for me to see the Saints overcoming being as banged up as they are. You're missing Demario Davis. You're missing two of your key offensive linemen. You got your number one wide receiver, your number one running back, both banged up. And there's no certainty that they're even going to be able to play to the full extent, even if they do play. And I'm having a very difficult time seeing somebody in our locker room that can step up and make up for the inefficiencies that Olave and Alvin Kamara may not be able to provide if they're not fully healthy or if they don't even play. So to me, that's just, I'm just being rational here. I think that if the Saints are going to win, Kubiak's going to have to, or he's going to have had to create some kind of very strategic interventions during the week that can give our offense a shot to block and create some kind of offense. I think if the Saints are going to win, that's what's going to have had to have happened during the week. And until I see it, I can't pick the Saints to win. Now, is it possible that Clint Kubiak could have utilized some things during the week and created some blocking schemes that could fit the personnel that we have playing? Perhaps. It's possible. You got Taysom Hill coming back, so maybe you can utilize that in some kind of way that could make a big difference, perhaps. But until I actually see it come into play, I can't. I'm just going based on the personnel that I know. What's up, Rudy? What's up, Bucks? What's up, Jerry? Rise up, ATL. Get me some breakfast, dude. I gotta do a few things before I take a shower and get ready for the game. Excuse me. So yeah, that's what I feel. That's what I feel. Keys to the game. Like I said, I think Clint Kubiak during the week is going to have had to create some kind of blocking schemes for this offense to be able to move the football, because last week it just was not happening. And if you're telling me that the Saints are going to come in with the exact same demeanor and intentions as last week and they didn't change anything, we're not going to be able to move the ball on the Falcons. The Falcons might have a better defense than Philadelphia. So if the Saints come in and try to do the exact same thing that they did last week, it's not happening. It's just not going to happen. And then on defense, you're short of your captain. You're short of the quarterback of your defense, Demario Davis. Now you're going to have Pete Werner step in and take over that role, and Orgy, whatever his name is, Orgy. You're gonna have to depend on these guys to step up and take over the role. And I don't know what that's gonna look like. I don't know how that's gonna fare out. So that gives me high concern in relation to Bijan Robinson and Kyle Pitts. Kyle Pitts hasn't done anything his entire career. Nothing. This is a game where I could already foreshadow it. I can see him having a career game today. The Saints just, they're not good against tight ends. So, keys to the game. I think it all starts on the offensive side of the ball. You're going to have to create some kind of blocking schemes to be able to move the football. You're going to have to be able to stay balanced. You're going to have to find some kind of running efficiency in this game today. I mean, there's no way around it. If you make Derek Carr beat you, he's not going to beat you. He's just not. Derek Carr relies on the people around him to play better in order for him to have success. If the people around him are not playing better, if the offensive line is not blocking, if the Saints can't run the football, things of that nature, if that's not happening, Derek Carr ain't going to perform. So the Saints are going to have to find a running game, and in order to find a running game, they're going to have to create some kind of blocking schemes that can keep the Falcons guessing. And, yeah, on offense, that's what you're going to have to do. You're going to have to find a way to protect your quarterback and protect your running back, make sure that he has lanes to run the football. Straight up. Defensively, I mean, you can say whatever you want. From what I've seen, the defensive line has not been very good at generating pressure, and a lot of people might argue with me there. I'm not saying they haven't gotten pressure. I'm just saying they've had a difficult time of consistently creating pressure. And last week is a perfect example. I know Philadelphia has a good offensive line, but even whenever two of their key offensive linemen went out during the game, I'm sitting here looking at Cam Jordan just getting bodied and just having the most difficult time of his life getting home. Same with Chase Young. And it seemed like the only the only person on our defensive line that really generated some kind of pressure was Carl Granderson. Carl Granderson had an excellent game yesterday, last week. Same with week 2. Carl Granderson was good. That's about the only guy. Other than that, I'm sitting here looking at Jalen Hurts, and he's got all freaking day. He can move as long as he wants in the pocket, move to his right, move to his left, run the football up the middle. We gave him all day. Even though we got sacks, he still had time to throw the football. That cannot happen today. The defensive line has got to generate some pressure. So you got, on the offensive side of the ball, you got to be able to create some kind of offensive blocking schemes in order to maintain balance. You got to be able to generate pressure on the defensive side of the ball. You cannot. Whenever you get opportunities, if the Saints do get opportunities, they've got to capitalize. I mean, it's as simple as that. You have got to capitalize. You get turnovers, you got to score. There were 5 different occasions last week where the Saints made momentum-changing plays and did not score on any of those momentum-changing plays. You stopped Philadelphia on 4th down twice last week. Twice. Didn't score anything off of them. And one of them was at the end of the half. So I'll cancel that one, okay? Forget that one. 4 momentum-changing plays that the defense made, or special teams, and the Saints didn't score in any of them. To start the second half, you stopped Philadelphia on 4th down. You didn't score any points off of it. You got an interception. You got a fumble. Didn't score in either one of those opportunities. And you blocked the punt. Didn't score on that. The Saints have got to take advantage of momentum-changing opportunities. And I believe they'll get a few. I do. They got to score. They got to make something out of it. Simple as that. So, those are my 3 keys to the game. Generate some kind of offensive blocking scheme in order to stay balanced. Defensive line has got to get pressure. And whenever you get momentum-changing plays, you got to take advantage. That's it. Those are the 3 keys to my keys to the game. And if the Saints do all 3 of those things, I think they got a really good shot to win. Do I think they're going to do all 3 of those things? Probably not. I don't see them generating a lot of pressure on the defensive line. Atlanta's offensive line is pretty good for the most part. I know they're missing a few offensive linemen themselves, but for the most part, they're still pretty good. Our offensive line, I'm going to have to see it to believe it. And, I mean, at this point, it's all about trusting Clint Kubiak's scheme. It's all about trusting his scheme. And in relation to getting momentum-changing plays, I believe that we can get some. I believe we will get some. It's a matter if we're going to take advantage. And whether or not we take advantage all depends on whether or not we're going to create those offensive blocking schemes that I talked about. So it's kind of a little bit of a loop here. All these keys kind of go in or build on each other. I think the most important, and I know I said 3 keys, but I think this is kind of the main thing of everything, of all the things that I've said. The Saints have got to match the energy. They've got to match the Falcons' energy. The Falcons are desperate. They're desperate. They've lost 2 home games already. The NFL did them a favor. Started them off with 4 out of the 5 of their first 5 games at home. And they've already lost 2 of them. And this is a division game. It's a division game. You think in their minds, they're not super focused, super desperate, super motivated, carrying a sense of urgency into this game? They are. In fact, they need this game more than we do. And I hate to say that. I hate it. Because the Saints do not play well against teams that are desperate. When another team needs a game more than the Saints, that team usually wins. Because the Saints don't bring the intensity. They don't usually bring the energy. And today's another example. The Saints are going to have to bring energy. They're going to have to bring the intensity. They have to. If they let Atlanta go down and get off to a fast start, that's an indicator. So, yeah, those are my keys to the game. Generate offensive blocking. Get pressured defensively at the defensive line. Take advantage of game momentum, changing plays, and you got to bring the energy. You got to bring the intensity, man. You got to bring it. They're the more desperate team. They need this game more than we do. And that's a scary thing for the Saints. So, there you have it. I mean, it's just hard for me to envision Atlanta losing their first 3 home games. It's very hard for me to envision. That's one of the biggest things for me. It's hard to imagine a team like Atlanta that has intentions on contending losing their first 3 home games. So, we'll see how it shakes out. I'll definitely talk to you guys after the game. And of course, I mean, I can go into the whole, don't turn the football over, that, but those are givens. To me, those are givens. Those are things that you absolutely know you can't afford. You can't afford to turn the football over. I'm talking about 3 outlier keys, like things that have to go right for the Saints today. I mean, you turn the ball over, you can do all 3 of those things. You can create offensive blocking, you can get pressure, you can even score whenever you get momentum changing plays. But if you turn the ball over on some possessions, I mean, that kind of evens it all out. So to me, not turning the ball over on the offensive side of the ball is a given for the Saints. They really cannot turn the football over. But other than that, we'll see how it all shakes out. I'll see you guys in about 6.5, 7 hours, whenever the game ends. Until then, enjoy football today, and I'll do the same. All that being said, guys,